The message came through every communication channel at once. Elder Vess pressed his webbed fingers against the transmitter, his voice shaking with fear. His people were dying. The peaceful colony on Ashara Prime had never known war. They didn't even have weapons. But now, something terrible had come from the dark spaces between stars. "Please," Elder Vess whispered into the device, "anyone who can hear this. We need help. They're killing everyone. They eat everything. Please, help us." The distress call traveled through space at light speed. It reached the Galactic Council first. 47 civilized species sat in their chamber, arguing about what to do. They had not fought a war in 300 years. Fighting was barbaric, uncivilized. They needed to discuss this properly. "We should send observers first," said one council member. "We must follow protocol," said another. "Perhaps we can negotiate with these creatures," suggested a third. Days passed while they talked. On Ashara Prime, thousands of Velans died. But the message had also reached the edge of known space. There, the human expeditionary fleet floated in the darkness. The humans had joined the Council only 20 years ago. Most aliens didn't trust them. Earth was a Class 12 death world. The gravity was too strong. The weather was too violent. The animals were too dangerous. And the humans themselves were strange. They were predators. Their eyes faced forward like hunters. They had once killed each other in hundreds of wars. Other species whispered about them in fear. Admiral Hannah Kim stood on the bridge of her ship, the HSS Prometheus. She was tall for a human woman, with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had fought in 3 conflicts during her 15 years of service. She read the message from Elder Vess 3 times. "How long until we can reach them?" she asked. Her navigation officer checked his screens. 3 days at maximum speed, Admiral." Hannah turned to her communications officer. "Contact the Council. Request permission to investigate." The response came back within an hour. The Council gave permission for humans to investigate, but they added warnings. "Do not escalate. Do not use excessive force. Remember the protocols." The message was clear. The Council didn't trust the humans with violence. Hannah deleted the message and opened fleet-wide communications. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim. We have a distress call from Ashara Prime. Civilian population under attack by unknown hostiles. We leave in 1 hour. Maximum combat readiness. Load everything." Captain Taiho Park received the order on his ship, the destroyer Soul's Fury. He smiled. Taiho was a fighter. He had grown up rough, joined the military young, and loved his job. Some people were born for peace. Taiho was born for this. "You heard the Admiral," he told his crew. "Battle stations. Let's go save some people." Across the fleet, 20 warships came alive. Weapons systems powered up. Marines checked their armor. Fighter pilots ran to their craft. The humans moved with practiced speed. They had trained for war their entire lives. Earth had made them that way. In the council chambers, alien observers watched the human fleet prepare. They saw the weapons being loaded. Missiles, railguns, plasma cannons. Things that could crack planets. "Should we be concerned?" asked a junior counselor. "They are Deathworlders," replied Counselor Threen, his feathers ruffling with anxiety. "Violence is natural to them, but surely they will show restraint." The human fleet jumped to faster than light speed. 3 days of travel began. On the Prometheus, Admiral Hannah studied everything they knew about the attackers. Not much information existed. The Krenth swarm, a hive species. They consumed biological matter. They had appeared suddenly from dark space. "They're eating the colonists," said her intelligence officer, Minji Jiang. She was young, but brilliant. "The Velans are amphibious, fragile. They can't fight back." Hannah's jaw tightened. She had seen many terrible things in her career, but eating civilians was beyond acceptance. "What kind of weapons do the Velans have?" she asked. "None, Admiral. They're a peaceful species. They've never needed weapons." Hana shook her head. In human history, someone always needed weapons. Peace only lasted until someone with weapons wanted what you had. The Velans had learned this lesson too late. 3 days felt like forever. Every hour, new messages came from Ashara Prime. Each one was worse than the last. The Krenth had taken 60% of the planet. They were building hive structures from the bodies of the dead. The remaining Velans hid underground, starving, waiting for help that the Council was still debating. Finally, the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light near Ashara Prime. The planet appeared on their screens. From orbit, they could see the Krenth infestation. Black biomechanical structures covered entire cities. Swarms of creatures moved across the surface like a plague. "Dear God," whispered Hana's second officer. Hana opened communications with the Council observers aboard her ship. "This is Admiral Kim. We're beginning orbital reconnaissance." The Council observer, a tall insectoid alien named Cleth, entered the bridge. "Admiral, the Council has sent new instructions. We must attempt communication with the Krenth first. Violence should be a last resort." Hana turned to face him. Her expression was cold. "How many Velans are still alive down there?" Cleth checked his data pad. "Approximately 4 million, down from 7 million 3 days ago." 3 million dead in 3 days, Hana said quietly. "And you want us to talk?" "Protocol demands." "I don't care about protocol," Hana interrupted. Her voice grew harder. "Those things are eating civilians, children, the old and sick. We don't negotiate with that. We end it." Cleth's antennae quivered. "The Council will not approve. Then they can sanction us after we save these people." Hana turned to her weapons officer. "Lieutenant Jiho, target all Krenth surface structures. Prepare orbital bombardment. Full payload." Jiho Kwan grinned at his console. He had been waiting for this. "Weapons hot and ready, Admiral." Captain Taiho's voice came through communications. "Admiral, Sol's Fury is in position, ready to engage on your order." Across the fleet, every ship reported ready. 20 warships, enough firepower to glass a planet. Hana took a breath. The Council would be angry. There would be consequences. But right now, 4 million people were dying below. Sometimes you had to choose between following rules and doing what was right. "All ships," she said calmly. "Fire." The human fleet lit up the darkness with fire. The first missiles hit the Krenth hive structures at dawn. The explosions were massive. Fire bloomed across the planet's surface like deadly flowers. From orbit, the human fleet poured down destruction without mercy. Lieutenant Jiho watched his targeting screens with satisfaction. Each missile carried thermobaric warheads. They were banned by Council protocols. "Too cruel," the alien said. The explosions consumed all oxygen in a wide area, then created a second blast wave that crushed everything. Jiho didn't care about the ban. These weapons worked, and right now, working was all that mattered. "Direct hit on Hive Cluster 7, he reported. "Target destroyed." On the planet below, the Krenth swarm reacted with confusion. They had never faced real resistance before. Most species in the galaxy were peaceful. They talked and negotiated. They didn't shoot first. But the humans weren't like most species. Brood Nexus 4 commanded the Krenth forces on the ground. It was a massive creature, half biological and half machine. The hive mind connected all Krenth together. What one felt, all felt. Right now, they felt pain. The bombardment continued. Captain Taiho brought his destroyer screaming through the upper atmosphere. The Sol's Fury wasn't designed for atmospheric flight, but Taiho didn't care about design limits. He pushed his ship hard. "Weapons, fire at will," Taiho ordered. "Burn everything that moves." His crew unleashed hell. Plasma cannons tore through Krenth swarm ships. Railgun rounds punched holes through their hive structures. One of Taiho's officers looked worried. "Captain, the stress on the hull—" "We'll hold," Taiho interrupted. "Keep firing." He was right. The ship held. It always did when Taiho pushed it. He had a feel for his ship like a rider with a good horse. He knew exactly how far he could go. Fighter craft launched from the Prometheus. Lieutenant Do-Yun Lee led his squadron into the atmosphere. His call sign was Phoenix, and he had earned it by surviving 3 crashes. Do-Yun was small and quick, with reflexes that seemed superhuman even to other humans. "Phoenix Squadron, follow me in," Do-Yun said cheerfully. "Let's light them up." His fighters carried incendiary weapons. Not quite napalm, but close enough. The payloads stuck to everything and burned at extreme temperatures. Against the biological components of the Krenth, it was devastatingly effective. The fighters dove like hawks. They released their payloads over Krenth concentrations. Fire rained from the sky. The Krenth tried to flee, but fire spread faster than they could run. Their hive structures burned. The biomechanical components melted. The screams of the hive mind echoed through their shared consciousness. On the Prometheus bridge, Counselor Cleth watched in horror. "This is barbaric! You're using chemical weapons! Firebombs! These are war crimes!" Admiral Hana didn't look away from her screens. "They were eating children. This is justice. The Council will never approve. I didn't ask for approval." Hana's voice was ice cold. "I asked for forgiveness, and I'll ask for that after every Velen is safe." Below, in the underground shelters, the Velens felt the ground shake. They heard the explosions. Elder Vess emerged from his hiding place and looked up through a crack in the ceiling. He saw human ships in the sky, burning bright like angry stars. "They came," he whispered. "The Deathworlders actually came." A younger Velen stood beside him. "Should we be grateful or terrified?" Elder Vess watched a human fighter scream past overhead, leaving a trail of fire. "Both. Definitely both." The battle lasted 6 hours. The Krenth swarm tried to adapt. They launched their own ships to fight back. It didn't help. Human pilots flew like demons. They took risks that no sane being would attempt. They flew through crossfire. They executed maneuvers that should have torn their ships apart. Do-Hyun laughed as he rolled his fighter through a storm of enemy fire. "Is that all you've got? Come on, make it interesting." His wingman, a pilot named Yunji, sounded concerned. "Phoenix, you're taking damage." "Just scratches," Do-Yun replied. He locked onto 3 Krenth ships and fired. All 3 exploded. "See? I'm fine." But the Krenth were learning something. It wasn't the human weapons that frightened them most. Weapons could be countered. No, what terrified the hive mind was the humans themselves. They enjoyed this. They laughed during combat. They sang songs. One destroyer crew was playing music over their communication channel while they fought. The hive mind couldn't understand. Fighting was supposed to be about survival, about resources. But these creatures fought with joy, with passion, with something the Krenth had never encountered before. "They're insane," the Brood Nexus 4 realized. "Completely insane." On the ground, Major Nari Choi watched the orbital bombardment from her dropship. She commanded the 3rd Marine Assault Division. 3,000 soldiers, all waiting for the order to deploy. Nari was tough as steel. She had grown up in the worst parts of Seoul, fought her way into the military, and risen through pure skill. "Marines," she said over the company channel, "get ready. As soon as the Admiral gives the word, we're going down there." Her soldiers checked their weapons. Human Marines carried an arsenal that shocked most aliens. Assault rifles, plasma shotguns, grenade launchers, combat knives. And each Marine could carry over 100 pounds of gear in Earth's gravity. On lighter gravity worlds, they moved like gods. The bombardment began to slow. Most of the Krenth surface structures were destroyed. But intelligence showed that many Krenth had gone underground, into the Velen cities. They couldn't be hit from orbit without killing the civilians they were trying to save. Admiral Hanna made the call. "Major Nari, you're clear for deployment. Bring them home." Nari smiled. "Yes, Admiral. All units, drop in 30 seconds." The dropships fell from orbit like meteors. Inside, the Marines stood ready. Some prayed, some joked, some sat in silence, but all of them were ready to fight. Counselor Cleth grabbed Admiral Hanna's arm. "You're sending ground troops. This is escalating beyond—" Hanna pulled her arm free. "There are still Krenth in the cities, with the civilians. Would you prefer I bomb the cities and kill everyone?" Cleth had no answer. The dropships hit the ground hard. Ramps dropped. Marines poured out into a burning cityscape. The capital of Ashara Prime was in ruins. Buildings collapsed. Fires burned everywhere. The air was toxic with smoke and chemicals. The Marines moved forward anyway. Their armor filtered the air. The heat didn't bother them. Humans had evolved on a world with deserts and volcanoes. This was uncomfortable, but manageable. Nari led her command squad toward the city center. They found the first Krenth within minutes. The creatures were hiding in a damaged building, surrounding a group of terrified Velens. "Contact front," Nari said calmly. "Light them up." The Marines opened fire. The Krenth tried to fight back, but they were slow and clumsy compared to humans. Within seconds, all of them were dead. The Velens stared at their rescuers in shock. "You're safe now," Nari told them. "Stay here. We'll come back for you." One Velen found his voice. You just killed them all. In seconds." Nari reloaded her weapon. "That's what we do. We're good at it." She moved on. Behind her, the Velen survivors huddled together. They were saved. But they had just learned something that would change the galaxy forever. Humans were the most dangerous thing in the universe, and right now, they were on your side. The fighting in the streets was brutal. Major Nari's Marines pushed deeper into the ruined capital city. Every building could hide Krenth. Every shadow could be an ambush. But the humans moved forward with confidence that seemed impossible to the watching Velens. Combat medic Sunho An followed close behind the assault teams. He was young, only 23, with gentle eyes that didn't match his profession. But Sunho had seen more death than most people saw in a lifetime. He carried medical supplies and weapons in equal measure. The squad found more Velen survivors trapped in a collapsed shelter. The building had fallen on them. Heavy debris pinned several civilians down. The Velens were too weak to lift the rubble. "Stand back," Nari ordered. She and 3 Marines grabbed a massive concrete slab. They lifted it like it weighed nothing. The Velens stared in disbelief. "How are you so strong?" one Velen asked. "Earth gravity is twice what you have here," Nari explained. "We train in it every day." "This is easy for us." Sunho moved in to treat the injured. He worked quickly and efficiently. One Velen had a crushed leg. Sunho examined it, then pulled out medical tools. "This will hurt," Sunho warned. He set the bone with a quick motion. The Velen screamed. "Sorry, but if I don't set it now, you'll lose the leg." He wrapped the limb and gave the Velen an injection. "That's for the pain. You'll be okay." Another Velen watched nervously. "You're very calm about this. Doesn't the injury bother you?" Sunho smiled. "I've treated worse, much worse. This is nothing." The Velen realized something disturbing. These humans dealt with injuries that would kill most species. They saw terrible wounds as routine. What kind of world had created such people? Across the city, demolitions expert Yuna Shin was solving a different problem. She had found a Krenth hive node. It was a massive structure, half building and half living thing. The Krenth had built it into the planet's power grid. If they destroyed it normally, it would explode and take out half the city. Yuna studied the structure carefully. She was small and quiet, but her mind worked like a machine. She could see patterns that others missed. I've got an idea, she told her team. But you're not going to like it. She was right. Her plan involved overloading the Krenth bioreactor and using its own energy against it. If she miscalculated by even a fraction, the explosion would kill everyone within a mile. How confident are you? Asked her squad leader. Yuna shrugged. 90%, maybe 95. And the other 5%? We all die instantly. Yuna smiled. But probably it'll work. She set the charges. The math was incredibly complex, but Yuna had always been good at math. She set the timer for 5 minutes. Run! She yelled. The team sprinted away. Behind them, the hive node began to glow. The bioreactor overloaded exactly as Yuna predicted. The explosion imploded inward, collapsing the entire structure into itself. No shrapnel, no shockwave, just a perfectly controlled destruction. 95%, Yuna said proudly. I knew it. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Minji Jiang was making an important discovery. She had been studying the Krenth behavior patterns. Something was strange. The Krenth were retreating, not just falling back, actually fleeing. Admiral, Minji reported to Hana, I think the Krenth are scared. Hana raised an eyebrow. Scared? They're a hive species. Fear shouldn't affect them that way. That's what I thought too, but look at this. Minji showed her data. They're abandoning positions they could hold. They're running from fights they could win. It's not tactical, it's panic. What are they afraid of? Hana asked. Minji pulled up footage from Marine helmet cameras. It showed human soldiers laughing while they fought, singing. Some were actually enjoying themselves. They're afraid of us, Admiral. Not our weapons. Us. Hana watched the footage silently. She saw Nari leading a charge while grinning. She saw Do-hyun whooping with joy as he shot down enemy ships. She saw Marines joking with each other in the middle of a firefight. They've never encountered predators before, Hana realized. Real predators. Beings that are built for fighting. Exactly, Minji said. The Krenth expected prey. They found hunters instead. In the underground shelters, Elder Vess met with Major Nari. The fighting had mostly stopped. The Krenth were in full retreat. Velen survivors were emerging from hiding. Thank you, Elder Vess said. You saved us. 4 million of my people are alive because of you. Nari nodded. Just doing our job. But you enjoyed it. Elder Vess's voice held confusion and fear. I watched you fight. You were smiling. Nari thought about how to explain. We're good at fighting. It's what humans do best. We've been fighting since we lived in caves. Fighting each other. Fighting nature. Fighting to survive. When you're good at something, you take pride in it. But killing doesn't bother you. Killing bothers us very much, Nari said seriously. But we kill anyway when we have to. That's what makes us dangerous. We can do terrible things and still sleep at night if we know it was necessary. Elder Vess looked into her eyes. He saw something that frightened him. Humans could disconnect their emotions from their actions. They could be kind and compassionate, then switch to brutal violence in an instant. They were like 2 different species in one body. I'm grateful, Elder Vess said carefully, but I'm also terrified of what you are. Good, Nari replied. Fear keeps people careful. Careful keeps people alive. On the Prometheus, Counselor Cleth was compiling his report for the Council. His hands shook as he wrote. The humans had won. In less than 24 hours, they had broken a Krenth invasion that should have been unstoppable. They had saved 4 million lives. But the cost in Krenth deaths was horrifying. They used every banned weapon in the Council Charter, Cleth muttered. Chemical incendiaries, thermobaric explosives, cluster munitions, and they did it without hesitation. Admiral Hana entered the room. Is there a problem, Counselor? You violated 14 protocols during this battle, Cleth said. The Council will demand answers. Then I'll answer them, Hana sat down. I'll tell them we saved 4 million civilians in 72 hours. While the council spent 3 days debating, I'll tell them that sometimes you need to break the rules to do what's right. The other species won't understand. They don't have to understand. They just have to accept it. Hana leaned forward. The galaxy has been at peace for 300 years because everyone forgot how to fight. But the universe doesn't care about your peace. Threats exist. The Krenth proved that. And when those threats come, you need someone who remembers how to fight back. Cleth was silent. He knew she was right. But the truth frightened him. That night, the human Marines set up camps among the ruins. They helped Velen survivors. They shared their food. They treated wounded aliens with the same care they showed their own. Sunho worked for 16 hours straight, treating anyone who needed help. The Velens watched in confusion. These humans could switch from brutal warriors to gentle helpers so easily. How could they be both? The answer was simple, though the galaxy didn't understand it yet. Humans weren't warriors or helpers. They were both. They could be whatever the situation required. That adaptability had let them survive Earth. Now it would change the entire galaxy. The Krenth swarm fled Ashara Prime completely. For the first time in their species' history, they retreated from a battle. The word spread through the hive mind and beyond. Stay away from the humans. They are death itself. 2 weeks after the battle, the human fleet remained at Ashara Prime. They helped rebuild what the Krenth had destroyed. Marines cleared rubble. Engineers repaired power grids. Medical teams treated the wounded. But across the galaxy, a different kind of storm was building. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session. Representatives from all 47 member species filled the Great Chamber. The subject was simple: what to do about the humans. Councillor Threen stood before the assembly. His feathers were ruffled with agitation. The humans violated 14 protocols during the Ashara Prime incident. They used banned weapons. They ignored council authority. They acted like barbarians. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. They saved 4 million lives, Councillor Mossa said quietly. Mossa was old, even for his long-lived species. He had served on the council for over a century. In 72 hours, we debated for 3 days while people died. They could have saved those lives without such brutality, Threen argued. The amount of force they used was excessive. Was it? Mossa pulled up footage from the battle. The council watched human ships raining fire on Krenth positions. They saw Marines fighting in conditions that would kill most species. They heard humans laughing during combat. The chamber fell silent. Many councillors looked disturbed. This is not normal behavior, Threen said. They enjoy violence. They enjoy being good at what they do, Mossa corrected. There's a difference. The debate continued for hours. Some councillors wanted to sanction the humans. Others wanted to expel them from the council entirely. A few suggested restricting human military capabilities. On Earth, diplomatic officer Hyun Nam watched the proceedings via live transmission. Hyun was young for a diplomat, only 35, but he had risen quickly through skill and intelligence. He understood alien cultures better than most humans. Right now, he could see the council turning against humanity. This is bad, Hyun told his superior. They're afraid of us. Fear makes people do stupid things. Can you fix it? His superior asked. Hyun shook his head. I can try to explain, but I don't think they want to understand. They want us to be like them, peaceful, gentle, safe. We can't be something we're not. I know. Hyun prepared his statement for the council. But I'll try to make them see that different doesn't mean wrong. At Ashara Prime, Elder Vess prepared his own testimony. The council had requested his presence. They wanted to know what really happened. Vess stood in his temporary shelter practicing his speech. Tell them the truth, Major Nari advised. She had become friends with the old Velen over the past 2 weeks. "Tell them you'd all be dead without us." "I will," Vess promised. "But I'll also tell them that you frighten me." Nari nodded. "That's fair. We frighten us sometimes, too." The council hearing began. Hyon Nam spoke first. He stood before the assembly. One small human facing thousands of aliens. "Counselors," Hyon began, "I understand your concern. Humans are different from most species in this chamber. We come from a difficult world. Earth has strong gravity, violent weather, dangerous predators. We evolved to survive that environment." "You evolved to be killers," Threen interrupted. "We evolved to be survivors," Hyun corrected. "Yes, that included developing weapons and tactics, but it also included developing cooperation, empathy, the ability to form strong bonds. We're not just warriors. We're also healers, builders, protectors." "The footage suggests otherwise." Hyun pulled up different footage. Human medics treating wounded Velens, engineers repairing infrastructure, Marines helping civilians escape danger. "We can be many things," Hyun said, "depending on what's needed." At Ashara Prime, what was needed was soldiers, so we were soldiers. Now they need rebuilders, so we're rebuilders. This adaptability is our strength. Elder Vess testified next. He spoke truthfully about the battle, how the humans had arrived when the council was still debating, how they had fought with terrible efficiency, how they had saved his people. "But I must be honest," Vess said. "They also frighten me. They fight with joy. They treat terrible injuries as routine. They can kill without hesitation and then be gentle and kind moments later. I don't understand how they can be both." "They can't be trusted," Threen declared. "They're too dangerous." "They can be trusted to do what's necessary," Mossa countered. "That's exactly what we need. The galaxy has been safe for 300 years because everyone forgot how to fight. But the Krenth proved that the universe is still dangerous. We need someone who remembers how to deal with danger." The debate raged on. Meanwhile, intelligence officer Minji Jang was making another disturbing discovery back on the Prometheus. She had been analyzing Krenth communication patterns since the battle. What she found made her blood run cold. "Admiral," Minji reported urgently, "we have a problem, a big one." Admiral Hana looked up from her reports. "What is it?" "The Krenth swarm that attacked Ashara Prime was just a small force, a scout group. The main swarm is much larger." Minji pulled up her data. "And they're planning a revenge attack." "Revenge? Against who?" "Against us, Admiral, against Earth itself." Hana felt ice in her stomach. "How large is the main swarm?" 50 times larger than what hit Ashara Prime. "Maybe more. They're gathering in dark space right now, and they're specifically targeting Earth." "Why Earth?" Minji showed her Krenth communications, translated by computer. "They call us the source world of the Deathworlders. They think if they destroy Earth, they destroy the humans. They want to eliminate us as a threat to their expansion." Hana immediately sent a priority message to Earth Command. Then she contacted the Council. "Counselors," Hana's message said, "I have urgent intelligence. The Krenth swarm is planning a massive assault on Earth. We need Council support immediately." The Council received the message during their debate about sanctioning humanity. Threen read it aloud. "Convenient timing," he said skeptically. "Just as we discuss restricting human military power, they claim to need it." "You think they're lying?" Mossa asked. "I think they want us to be afraid, so we'll let them keep their weapons." Mossa pulled up the intelligence data Minji had provided. It was extensive, detailed, impossible to fake. "This is real," Mossa said. "The Krenth are coming, and they're targeting the human homeworld." The council chamber erupted in argument. Some wanted to send help immediately. Others wanted to use this as leverage. A few suggested that if Earth fell, the human problem would solve itself. Counselor Threen's voice cut through the noise. Perhaps this is an opportunity. If the humans are truly as dangerous as they seem, they can defend themselves. If they fall, then they were not as mighty as they claimed. Either way, the galaxy is safer. Hyun Nam listened in horror. They were going to let Earth fight alone. Or worse, they were hoping Earth would lose. At Ashara Prime, Captain Taeho heard the news. His face went dark with anger. "They're going to abandon us," he said to Nari. "The Council is going to let the Krenth attack Earth and do nothing." "Can we make it back in time?" Nari asked. 3 months to Earth at maximum speed, maybe less if we push the engines." Taeho calculated quickly. "But the Krenth will arrive first. Earth will have to hold out alone." Admiral Hana made her decision. "All human ships prepare for immediate departure. We're going home." Counselor Cleth approached her. "Admiral, the Council hasn't authorized—" "I don't need authorization to defend my home," Hana interrupted. "Tell the Council whatever you want, we're leaving." The human fleet began preparations to depart. The Velans watched with mixed emotions. They owed these humans their lives, but they were also glad to see them go. The humans were too intense, too violent, too different. Elder Vess found Nari before she left. "Thank you," he said simply, "for everything." Nari shook his hand gently. Velans were fragile. She had to be careful not to hurt him. "Stay safe, Elder, and remember what you learned. Peace is good, but peace needs guardians." "Will you survive?" Vess asked. "This attack on your world?" Nari smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator facing a challenge. "The Krenth want to see what a death world looks like," she said. "They're about to learn why Earth earned that name." The human fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, 20 ships racing home. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued to debate. They still hadn't decided whether to help, but 3 months from now, when the Krenth swarm reached Earth, the galaxy would learn an important lesson. You could debate philosophy and protocol all you wanted, but when monsters came from the dark, you needed monsters of your own to fight them back. 3 months later, the Krenth swarm arrived at Earth. The hive fleet was massive beyond imagination. Thousands of biomechanical ships filled space around humanity's moon. Brood Nexus 4 commanded them personally. It had sworn to destroy the Deathworlders at their source. Earth's defense fleet moved to intercept. Admiral Hana stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, now flagship of Home Fleet. Every human military ship had been recalled, but they were still outnumbered 50-1. "This is going to be difficult," her tactical officer said quietly. "We've fought difficult battles before," Hana replied. But even she felt fear. This wasn't a colony. This was home. 7 billion people lived on the planet below. The Krenth attacked first. Their swarm ships moved like a living tide. Human ships opened fire, but there were too many targets. For every Krenth ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. Captain Taeho commanded the Soul's Fury in the thick of battle. His destroyer fired continuously, never stopping. But it wasn't enough. "Captain, hull breaches on decks 3 and 7, his officer reported. "We can't take much more." "Then we make every shot count," Taeho said grimly. He aimed his ship at a Krenth capital ship and fired everything. The enemy ship exploded. But the Soul's Fury was dying. "All crew, abandon ship! Get to the escape pods!" "Captain, you need to evacuate too." "In a minute." Taeho set the ship's reactor to overload. Then he ran for the pods. The Soul's Fury exploded behind him, taking 6 Krenth ships with it. Taeho's pod drifted in space, rescued hours later by a passing cruiser. Lieutenant Do-yun led his fighter squadron through impossible odds. They were outnumbered 100-1. But Do-yun flew like a demon. His fighter twisted through enemy fire. He shot down ship after ship. "Phoenix, you've got 12 on your tail," his wingman warned. "Only 12? Do-yun laughed. He pulled his fighter into a spin that should have torn it apart. The pursuing Krenth ships couldn't match his maneuver. They collided with each other. See? Problem solved. But even Do-Yun couldn't be everywhere. The Krenth broke through the orbital defense. Their dropships headed for Earth's surface. "They're landing," Hana reported to Earth Command. "Brace for ground assault." The Krenth chose their landing sites carefully. They descended on Australia's outback, the Amazon rainforest, the Siberian tundra, places where they thought humans would be weak. They were wrong. Major Nari commanded planetary defense forces now. She watched the landing ships descend and smiled. "They want to fight on Earth? Fine. Let's show them what Earth is really like." The first Krenth landed in the Australian outback. The heat was extreme. The sun beat down mercilessly. But they were used to harsh conditions. They began to move inland. Then Earth's environment attacked them. The gravity was wrong. Too strong. Krenth designed for lighter worlds struggled to move. Some simply collapsed under their own weight. The heat was worse than they expected. Their biological components began to fail. "Water," the hive mind realized. "We need water." They found a water hole. But the water was contaminated with bacteria that Earth life was immune to. The Krenth weren't. Their immune systems, designed for sterile hive environments, couldn't handle Earth's aggressive microbes. They began to sicken. Then the native life found them. Dingoes attacked first, then snakes, then spiders. Earth's predators had evolved alongside humans for millions of years. They were fast, aggressive, poisonous. The Krenth had never encountered anything like them. In the Amazon, things were worse. The Krenth landed in dense jungle. Within hours, they were lost. The vegetation was too thick. The humidity destroyed their sensors. Insects bit them. Plants poisoned them. Jaguars stalked them. And then the humans arrived. Brazilian defense forces knew their home territory. They used the jungle like a weapon. They set traps. They ambushed from trees. They used the environment to kill Krenth without ever being seen. "This world is trying to kill us," the hive mind realized in panic. "Everything here is deadly." In Siberia, the Krenth faced different problems. The cold was extreme. Their biological components froze. Their ship's landing gear sank into permafrost. Russian defense forces waited until the Krenth were weakened by exposure, then attacked with brutal efficiency. Major Nari watched reports come in from around the world. The Krenth were dying, not from human weapons, from Earth itself. "They evolved on gentle worlds," Nari said. "They've never experienced real danger. Earth eats things like them for breakfast." But the space battle was still going badly. The Krenth had numbers. Human ships were being destroyed. Admiral Hana made a desperate call to the Galactic Council. "This is Admiral Kim. We need immediate assistance. Earth is under attack. Repeat, we need help now." The Council was still debating. Councilor Threen argued against intervention. "Let them handle it themselves. If they're as powerful as they claim—" Elder Vess interrupted. The old Velen had traveled to the council chamber specifically for this moment. "You're going to let them die? After they saved us?" "That's different," Threen said. "How is it different?" Vess demanded. "They didn't debate. They didn't wait. They came immediately and saved 4 million of my people. Now you're going to watch them burn because you're afraid of them?" Councilor Mossa stood. "The elder is right. We've been cowards, hiding behind philosophy while others fight our battles. The humans are crude and violent, but they're also brave and honorable. They deserve our help." The council chamber erupted in argument. While they debated, the battle for Earth continued. Intelligence Officer Minji had an idea. "Admiral, the Krenth use a hive mind. Everything connects to the brood nexus. So if we kill the nexus, we kill the hive?" Hana asked. "Maybe. Or at least we confuse them badly." Minji pulled up her data. "I've been studying their communication patterns when I can broadcast a signal that will overwhelm their shared consciousness. What kind of signal? Minji smiled darkly. Human history. All of it. Every war. Every battle. Every moment of violence from our entire species. Directly into their hive mind. It was psychological warfare taken to an extreme. The Krenth hive mind worked by sharing experiences. If Minji flooded it with human memories of war, it would experience all of humanity's violence at once. Do it, Hana ordered. Minji activated the broadcast. Years of human history poured into the Krenth communication network. The hive mind experienced World War I, World War II, every conflict humanity had ever fought, millions of deaths, billions of moments of violence and survival. The Brood Nexus 4 screamed. The hive mind couldn't process it. These creatures had spent their entire existence fighting, not for resources, not for survival, for ideology, for freedom, for revenge, for pride. They're insane, the Brood Nexus realized. These Deathworlders are completely insane. They'll never stop fighting. Ever. The hive mind broke. Connections severed. The Krenth fleet lost coordination. Ships drifted without orders. Ground forces wandered aimlessly. Demolitions expert Yuna seized the opportunity. She had rigged Earth's orbital defense platforms to overload. Detonating in 3, 2, 1. The platforms exploded in a chain reaction. The blast wave tore through the disorganized Krenth fleet. Hundreds of ships destroyed in seconds. The Krenth began to flee. Those that could still move ran. The Brood Nexus 4 retreated to dark space, its hive mind shattered and terrified. And then the Galactic Council arrived. Councillor Mossa had convinced enough members to override Threen's objections. Council ships dropped out of faster-than-light speed around Earth. They came ready to fight, but the battle was already over. Human ships floated in space, damaged but victorious. Earth still burned in places, but it was alive. The Krenth were scattered and fleeing. Mossa stared at his view screen in shock. They won. The Deathworlders actually won. Admiral Hana received Mossa's transmission. Counselor, thank you for coming, even if you're late. How did you survive? Mossa asked. Earth isn't just our home, Hana replied. It's our training ground. It's been trying to kill us for millions of years. We learned to survive. The Krenth never had that experience. They were soft. We're hard. Mossa was silent for a long moment. Then he made a decision. Admiral Kim, the Council wishes to make a proposal. We need a galactic defense force. Someone who can respond to threats like the Krenth. Someone who remembers how to fight. You want humans to be your soldiers? Hana asked carefully. We want humans to lead the defense of the galaxy, Mossa corrected. With full authority, no protocols, no restrictions. When danger comes, you do what's necessary to stop it. Admiral Hana looked at Taiho, who had made it back to the Prometheus. She looked at Nari, reporting from Earth's surface. She looked at her crew, exhausted and bloodied, but alive. One condition, Hana said. We do this our way. No second-guessing. No debates while people die. When we say a threat needs to be eliminated, you trust us to eliminate it. Councillor Threen's voice came through. That's asking for blank authorization for violence. That's asking you to trust us, Hana corrected. We saved the Velens. We saved Earth. We'll save anyone who needs it. But we do it our way. Mossa agreed immediately. Done. Welcome to your new position, Admiral, Commander of Galactic Defense Forces. Captain Taiho grinned. They're going to regret this in about 10 years. Probably, Hana agreed, but they'll be alive to regret it. She looked out at Earth, her home, still burning in places from the battle, but alive, still fighting, still surviving. That night, Hana stood on the observation deck. Taiho joined her. They'll always fear us, Taiho said quietly. Hana nodded. Good. Fear kept them talking instead of fighting for 300 years. Now fear will keep them safe. They'll fear us, and the things that threaten them will fear us more. She turned to look at her new fleet. Human ships and council ships together, the beginning of something new. The galaxy wanted peace, Hana said, but they forgot that peace needs teeth, needs claws, needs people willing to do violence so others don't have to. That's what we are. That's what we've always been. Taeho smiled. Deathworlders. Protectors, Hana corrected. We're both, and the galaxy is going to learn to live with that. Below them, Earth turned slowly in space, scarred, battered, undefeated. The Death World that had created the Deathworlders. And now those Deathworlders would guard the galaxy. The aliens had sent an SOS. The humans had answered with flame. And in that flame, a new era had been forged.